Clarence? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing? I like that view you got there. Awesome. Awesome view.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
We have a pretty bad connection. In fact, this is typically like a dream for me that I couldn't hear you. No disrespect.
Really? Are we going to do this?
Yeah, you're not. Hang on. Let me try this. Let's try this. This is the joy of COVID. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine.
No, this is bad. You want to give this? Unfortunately, it's really bad on my end. I don't know if this is a Wi-Fi issue or what. Let's try one more time.
I think it's your Wi-Fi. I think your hair got in your Wi-Fi.
No, this is not working for me. Try one more. Say.
I think it's your Wi-Fi because Steve Wilson can hear us both. It's on your end.
No, this isn't working. You're coming in really, really poor. Like I can't hear you at all. So let's try this. Hang on just a second. Bear with me. How about now?
I can hear you fine.
No, this is my problem.
Yes, it's your problem.
So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to count to 5. I'm going to log off, and then we're going to log back in, okay?
You log off and log back in because I'm fine.
I can't hear you at all, so bear with me.
Oh, my God. Yeah, this is Clarence Hill of the Star Telegram. We're waiting on Mac Engel, the Star Telegram. He clearly has some technical issues right now, trying to get on live. But again, Clarence Hill coming to you after a huge Cowboys win. Cowboys win. Can we believe we're saying this? Cowboys win against those Cincinnati Bengals. And I would say that the Cowboys really finally showed some pride and some fight today. The question that I have is, do they have renewed life in their season after unleashing some pent-up frustration on the Cincinnati Bengals in a 30-7 blowout victory? Quarterback Andy Dalton and the team's maligned defense came into the game with something to prove, and they responded with their best performance of the season. Dalton spent the first 9 seasons of his career as the Bengals quarterback before being dumped last spring when they drafted Joe Burrow with the number 1 overall pick. Dalton, starting his 6th game in place of the injured Dak Prescott, had his best performance of the season. As I said, he completed 16 of 23 passes for 185 yards and touchdown passes of 11 and 7 yards to receiver Amari Cooper and Tony Pollard. And the best thing about it, after the touchdown pass to Pollard late in the game in the 4th quarter, he kind of made a gesture to his wife up in the box, and she made a gesture back to him. It was just a good moment for both of them coming back to Cincinnati. Spent so many years here, so many emotions for them. The Cowboys wanted to win for him. They gave him the game ball. He came back to the locker room after the game after talking to the media, and they threw a lot of water on him. They doused him with water, and it was just a special moment. Mike McCarthy talked about the team wanting to win for Dalton, and certainly Dalton talked about it being special for him. But it was also special for the Cowboys, after what they've gone through. Remember, the Cowboys played on Tuesday. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens 34-17 on Tuesday when they got embarrassed because they were called out for quitting on defense, and they gave up 294 yards rushing to the Baltimore Ravens. And again, they got called out by Troy Aikman. They got scolded by Mike McCarthy. Well, they showed some pride on defense against the Cincinnati Bengals with 3 forced fumbles in the first half. Alden Smith had a 78-yard fumble return for a touchdown. All 3 fumbles came on running plays. The Cowboys allowed just 101 yards rushing. Again, just 5 days after giving 294 against the Ravens. Greg Zuerlein, who had 3 missed field goals against the Ravens, made his only 2 kicks, including a 55-yarder with 5 minutes left to go in the game. It was a huge win for the Cowboys, just from a confidence standpoint, from a pride standpoint, but also has them back somewhat in the NFC East race. The NFC East is horrible this year. The Giants were leading the division, tied with the Washington football team atop the division, where they lost to the Cardinals. Washington's facing the 49ers right now, but the Cowboys are just 1 game behind the Giants now with 3 games to go. But whether they get back into the race or not, they want to end the season on a good note. They want to end the season playing some good football and carry some momentum into the offseason. That's something that certainly that Mike McCarthy has talked about, and he felt that they it was a good win for the team just from being able to get the win, being able to get the win for Andy Dalton, but just for themselves. I mean, the Cowboys overcame a lot. That secondary, they had a lot of guys running in and out of the secondary today, just because of injuries, because of COVID. Guys that were called up for the practice squad had to play today, and they were able to come out there and get it done. And again, they stopped the run while doing some things. I guess having smaller numbers to stop the run because they were worried about the cornerback play in the secondary because Cheeto didn't play. Again, when they were already out, Trevon Diggs, Anthony Brown didn't play. So they were starting Savion Smith and they were starting Anthony Brown. And they were starting all different guys in the secondary. I think Mac is back. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me. It was your
I
wife.
can't hear you. Do you even need me at this point? Be honest.
You're here. I've run it down. Just your quick takes on the game. Andy Dalton, you know him well. Going back to Cincinnati, it was certainly an emotional win for him and his wife. You saw the gesture he had to his wife at the game. Just talk about that and how you just kind of saw that.
Well, I think I was a little surprised that he showed that much emotion. You've talked to him a little bit. I know you haven't had a chance to get to know him very well because of the COVID stuff, but he's not a very outwardly emotional guy. And for him to do that, I think obviously there are some feelings there about the way his exit was handled that really, quite frankly, surprises me. That caught me off guard. Not that the win didn't matter to him, not that playing well didn't matter to him, but just that he showed it. And with his wife being there in the stands, that they were there for 9 years, and they became really embedded in that community. His charitable work with Children's Hospital was well documented. So I think the part that really kind of, like I said, kind of caught me off guard was he showed that, and he understood. If anybody understood why Cincinnati had to let him go and push him out, he would. And nonetheless, I think anytime you've seen it 100 times, if you play your old team, it doesn't matter how it was handled. There's some feelings there. And no matter what Andy Dalton says, there were some feelings there about the Brown family and about how I think it's like any of those guys, they go to a team clearance and they think they're going to be there forever. And what they don't realize is that they're all expendable. I mean, Tom Brady left New England. Peyton Manning left Indianapolis.
He left on his own terms. And the difference here is that they knew they were going to draft Joe Burrow. He didn't like the fact that they waited so long to release him, which impacted his ability to go and find a new team for agency. And that's the problem he had, is that they waited so long. He understood they were going to go with – everybody knew they were going to draft Joe Burrow. We all knew that, but they waited till May to let him go instead of doing it in March. And so that's the problem that he had. And so – it was emotional. He talked about the people at the hotel and the fans and the team trying to do right by him. They announced his name before the game. And as he led the Cowboys on the field, they had some signs in the stands. But, he wanted to win that game bad. He wanted to show them, what they let go. And he did.
And, the Fox guys, Michael Strahan, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, they all talked about Andy Dalton and him coming back to Dallas next season. And, you and I discussed this last week after they looked so bad against Baltimore. The Bengals are terrible. I mean, they're as bad as any team not named the Jets. But I think you're at that point now, Clarence. You have to ask yourself, what are they going to do with Andy Dalton? He came here because of I remember when he said it, part of the reason because of COVID and what that was going to do to his family and things like that and affecting his mobility. So this was a backyard team that he could play with. But obviously, I think everybody in the league is expecting 2021 will be different. Do you think the Cowboys keep him? Because he's not going to be cheap.
Why would he not be cheap? I mean, I don't know why he would be expensive. I mean, and cheap is relative.
We're talking backup quarterback cheap.
Yeah,
this is a team that paid Cooper Rush nothing to be the number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
it goes up and down with paying backups.
I think they could pay him $3 million. I don't know what he's going to get, and he may want to be around there. He's from Dallas. He's comfortable here. His family's here. That's one reason why he came here during COVID. If there are no starting opportunities out there, in free agency, why would he not come back here and be the backup to Dak Prescott? I think the Cowboys would love to have him back as a backup. Certainly, it's going to be about opportunities, and certainly going to be about cost. But if I had my druthers and I'm the Cowboys, if I have a chance to bring Andy Dalton back again as my backup quarterback behind Dak Prescott, you got a veteran guy that can win. As we see now, hopefully he can win games. Certainly it's not a perfect scenario because there's so many other injuries and so many other things that are going on that this is not the Cowboys team you envisioned. Beyond losing Dak Prescott, you lost the whole offensive line and all that other stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would bring him back. I think that you look at some of the other options. Garrett Gilbert's of the world. I mean, you really want to have a strong veteran backup if you can, and I think the Cowboys have opportunity to do that by bringing Andy Dalton back. So that's something that we'll see. We'll see how he finishes. Maybe they'll go on a 4-game winning streak now. And I want Andy to be my starter.
I forgot about that. You remember that when they signed him? There's some idiots out there who thought the Cowboys would be better with Andy Dalton as the starting quarterback over Dak Prescott. You know what? I can't. I get it. Drugs are fun. They taste good. Beer tastes good. And if you drink enough of them, you take enough drugs, you're going to think Andy Dalton's a better starting quarterback option than Dak Prescott. Moving on, we've talked about this before, but Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith. The Cowboys beat a bad team today. They forced 3 turnovers on the Bengals' first 3 drives, one of which turned out to be an Alden Smith touchdown. Have you seen enough from these guys to think that the Cowboys are in good hands up the middle with Vander Esch and Jalen?
I would like to see them perform with better defensive tackles in front of them. I really would like to see them perform with better defensive tackles in front of them. But listen, let's get a defense credit. They got their butts kicked on Tuesday. They gave up 294 yards rushing. They got accused of quitting and not finishing. Troy called them out. Mike McCarthy certainly called them out and chastised them. They showed effort today. Okay, yes, the Bengals moved the ball, but the Cowboys were, kind of handcuffed in the secondary. They were playing with me and you out there at cornerback. They've had so many injuries, they were just playing with guys off the street. So they had to do some things up front to protect themselves on the back end. So they didn't really commit to the run and stop the run as they would have. They'd had normal guys on the second at cornerback. So give them credit. They only gave up 101 yards rushing. Certainly, the Bengals didn't have their best running back, but they had some quality runners back there. And the Cowboys, and then the good news, all 3 turnovers, all 3 fumbles came on running plays. And for a team that's been awful against the run and not quitting, they were effort plays. They were able to get it done on the ground. So give the Cowboys credit for showing pride. Yeah, the Bengals are bad, but the Cowboys defense showed a little pride today.
I talked about this just a few minutes ago in a different video that I posted. The Cowboys are not out of it. So bear with me here as I walk through this. There is still a scenario, and because the NFC East is so bad, Giants lost. Eagles are not going to beat the Saints.
They're winning 6-0. They're winning. They're winning.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Never mind.
They're winning. They're winning 7-0.
So, Clarence, there is still a narrow path. They could make it. They could.
No, we don't think they're going to make it, and I think that Washington is a tough team. They've lost twice to Washington. If Washington, the Giants have a tough schedule. They have a tough schedule. I don't think they're going to.
If you're the NFC East right now, unless you're playing the Jets or the Bengals, every team, if you're an NFC East team, every team you play is a tough schedule.
No doubt. But Washington playing San Francisco today, and I didn't have Carolina left on their schedule before they finished with 2 NFC East teams. So, if Washington, somebody gets by San Francisco and they beat Carolina, I think they win the division.
My question is, you got a whole bunch of Cowboys fans out there because it's a really popular thing in sports is just lose, tank, get a high draft pick. Do you want them? As a fan, should you want them to make the playoffs? I think you always go for the playoffs. I don't care how bad you are. If you can get in every time. Because if not, you're the Bengals.
No, it's just talking to Mike McCarthy today, and certainly the players are, saying we're not out of it, but his focus is just getting better. His first year in Green Bay, they started really bad, and they won their last 4 games. And they carried their momentum into the offseason, and then they went on this run that ended with a Super Bowl title. And so his focus is, let's just finish strong. Let's get on the roll and finish strong. Everything else will take care of itself. Whatever happens in NFCs will happen in NFCs. But our focus, the Cowboys' focus, is about winning as many games as they can to close the season strong, gain some momentum, gain some confidence, let people know that, hey, we do know what we're doing as coaches. We do have something in place. That's the goal. The goal is to try to finish strong with these last 3 games. They won one. They have not won back-to-back games all season. So the next goal is to try to string some wins together. They play at the 49ers. They're without their quarterback. The 49ers they don't have any winning teams left on their schedule. They got the 49ers, then they got Philadelphia, then they have the Giants in the season finale. So the Cowboys are going to play their guys. They're going to play hard. They're going to try to win.
Wait a minute. See, to me, I think if I'm Mike McCarthy and you're talking about get better, I think for the Cowboys right now and Mike McCarthy, he's got to prove that his team has listened to him, is listening to him, is doing what he's selling, and is not quitting. Say whatever you want about Jason Garrett. You and I wrote it and said it 1,000 times. They never quit on him once. Now, they had dog games, but they never totally checked out on him, which was his greatest asset as a head coach. McCarthy, we don't know him. We don't know. There's a whole bunch of new players, all these extenuating circumstances. In my mind, the big thing that he's got to show his boss, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, is that his players did not check out on him. And Clarence, to me, the Bengals are so bad that this result is just you have to throw it out.
Listen, the Cowboys are so bad they can't throw out any wins.
No. But it's more about the idea of, Clarence, do you think in the last however many games do you think that this is, because it's been said a lot, and you and I have talked about it, it's not about getting better. Have they checked out on him? I don't think they have.
No, they haven't. But you measure that by improvement. And finding something, and it all the offense has got incrementally better. Andy is more comfortable. He's spreading the ball around. Certainly, he was okay against Baltimore. He was much better today. Again, against the bad Bengals team, but they still got it done. No turnovers on offense. That's one big thing. That this is the first game since the season opener that the Cowboys had no turnovers. They had 3 on defense. They won the turnover battle, and that's just it. If they can just play clean football, you don't have to be great, but don't hand the ball to the other team. Don't just give gifts out. And that's been the biggest problem most of the years. They've been giving gifts, all season, at home, on the road, turn the ball over, kicking themselves in the foot. Don't do that. Shooting themselves.
You think they've gotten better? See, when I watch, I don't think this is a team that is totally checked out and quit on their coach. You and I have seen that. Cowboy fans who have any memory of all of the Wade Phillips era know what a team that quits on their coach looks like. This team has not quit on their coach. What they are is a team that is discouraged. And
they're discouraged and they're not very talented.
Well, and there's the other thing.
Offensive line, you get the secondary, they don't have a lot of talent at certain spots.
But and every team has that problem, and a good quarterback will cover a lot for you. And Dak had done that at times. But do you see a team that's gotten better? I've seen they've gotten a little bit better, but for a first-year head coach, in light of the NFC East and all this turnover and the fact that they're, whether it's the Giants or the Washington, they're in similar situations. Have you seen Dallas get better?
They didn't turn the ball over today. That's improvement, right?
Just the pause alone. The pause alone.
I guess it depends on what your standard is. Again,
back up.
Not getting out of your own, getting out of your own way and not turn the ball over. That's improving. Again, it's hard to get that continuity when you have what you're playing with on the offensive line. When you're playing you played 4 quarterbacks and now you're trying to get some continuity with Andy Dalton. Defensively, again, that secondary, they're just, it's just anybody's playing out there. I mean, they're playing with guys off the street, guys they called up from the practice squad was out there playing today.
Clarence, we're going to look ahead, way ahead. But you talk about guys that they're just picking up off the street just to fill it. They need bodies at this point, right? If they make a play, great. They just need a human being to stand in there and act like a cornerback. But when you look down the road in the spring, and this team is going to have probably a high draft pick. We don't totally know that, but it's a safe bet. What is need number 1 and need number 2? I know what need number 1 is in my head, and that's got to be a defensive tackle. and probably a safety. They'll never go get one because this franchise just refuses to address safety. But in my mind, it's tackle and safety. What about you?
I like defensive tackle. I also wouldn't mind a cornerback. I mean, you got one in the first round, you get another. I mean, the second round last year, the ones in the first round, I will go get there. You get 2 shutdown corners to go with Trevon Diggs. I'd like to build with that.
Answers that. All right, Dallas Cowboys win today against the Cincinnati Bengals in a big homecoming for Andy Dalton. We didn't really talk about the Ezekiel Elliott homecoming at Ohio State. Yeah, we'll mention that real quick. What do you think of Zeke's game? 12 carries, 48 yards, 1 run for 46, 1 run for 26?
Well, it's been what it's been all season, and the fact that they couldn't score in the red zone, and they got down there and they had the first goal in the 3, and they handed the ball once to Zeke, got 1 yard, and they passed twice, and they kick a field goal or whatever they had going on. I mean, that's just been what it's been all season, and part of that Zeke, but part of that you're playing with 5 backups up front.
Amen. Clarence, this was fun. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your patience with my technical difficulties. What do you think of the glasses, by the way?
You look scholarly.
It's a lie. See you later.
Bye.